Hey everyone, so this is Catfish TV show, season 5, episode 17, and it's titled Andrea, Alex, Andrea. So the catfishy that we come to kind of know about is Alex, but you don't necessarily see him in the beginning until about midway through the episode for reasons that we'll obviously get into later. So basically, the whole issue is Neve and Max have gotten an email from casting saying that they need to check something out. So they go to this YouTubers one of the this social media site. I don't remember if it's Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or what, but they go to one of these social media sites for this YouTuber named Andrea Russet, and in this little video that she put up on this social media site, she says that ever since her popularity, she has gotten thousands upon thousands of fake profiles made about her with using not only her pictures but her actual real name. I mean, they've had various different spellings of her name on these profiles, but for the most part, she knows they're fake because of the fact that they are because of the fact that they spell her name, her at least her first name, very differently than her actual first name. But how what she's there actually there about, instead of the other thousands of fake profiles that are about her, is she has recently found some fake profiles of her family members, and so that's what's going on right now. And what she wants to be done is to figure out who it is, why they're doing it. So Neve and Max then message her to call her on Skype. Um, Message her to call her on Skype, and a minute or two later, she calls them on Skype and pretty much explains the whole situation again via Skype. And she says she basically started out on YouTube in 2009 when she was in sixth grade. And she's now 20. She's now almost 21 years old. She's not 21 years old yet. While they're actually filming the majority of this episode, but she's almost 21. And her fame started out in 2009 when she made this video to enter into a Justin Bieber contest. And although she didn't win, her video went viral because of it. And now she lives in LA. I don't remember where she said she was originally from, but yeah, now she lives in LA. She has known about the other fake profiles since 2010. And people have since emailed her saying that they've been talking to her and are engaged to her and everything, and all this crazy ass shit through sending these emails to her via email. um, then she tells them of the whole fake profiles of her mom, dad, brother, and sister, um, that are linked to this one particular fake profile page of her. So Neve asks to know when these fake accounts were made. Andrea says that her sister's fake profile page was made in 2013, but she only just now found out about it, like right around the time that she um, posted the video on her social media account. Um, and so then even Max asked if she's willing to see this through with them, and kind of uh, do it with them. And so she agrees to it. They end up going to LA from wherever they were. I think they were in New York at the time. Don't quote me on that, but anyway. So once they're in LA and go to her house, they go to her backyard, and Eve has Andrea tell them how everything got started, and she pretty much basically like reiterates what she said via Skype. Um, and she explains that she 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 was fine with the fake profile, the thousands and thousands of fake profiles she had um, before this whole situation happened. She was fine with it because she figured it comes with putting yourself out online, um, all like 24/7 and stuff like that. So she's like she figured, okay, fine, you know what, it's I mean, I put myself in a situation where people can readily access my pictures and all that. So I mean, that doesn't really upset me. At least the thousands upon thousands of fake profiles of me. But what gets she continues on saying, what gets to me is the whole creating profiles for my family, and you're now starting to go get very, very personal here with my family members, because it's just her mom, dad, brother, and sister too, not just her. Um, so then, and she also says what's weird is this fake profile uh, said homophobic and racist things on it. Um, and she also says that there have been a couple stalker incidents where this one stalker showed up at her parents' church uh, and showed up at her parents' jobs looking for her. As far as we know, the stalker hasn't been caught or anything, because Andrea hasn't said anything about it. Um, anyway, so the person who's behind these fake profiles of her mom and dad and sister and brother, they know a lot of information about them. Um, Information that you can only find by actually going about and looking for it. Some of the things that they know are where the city where her father's from, and the high school where her brother attended. So, like I said, basically just information you can only find out if you're actually actively looking for it. Um, so, Max asks if if she knows what they want, and she's like, yeah, no, I don't know. Um, and then even Max asks to see the posts that this whole Catfish family, her own this catfisher is doing to on these profiles. Um, and even it they find out that this catfish knows where her sister even works, which is like creepy as fuck. Anyway, so they decide to go back inside and start searching. And once inside, Neve says that it's likely one person doing it all, and it could be the stalker guy because he's still out there and everything. He suggests they divide and conquer by creating a message and sending out to all the fake profiles, or the people associated with these fake profiles, so they can see who it is. They do so and send it to numerous people, then wait. Then shortly after they finish that, they get a phone call from this guy named Jared. And Jared says he knows Anna through Arden, Andrea, who is Andrea's best friend. Jared has spoken to Arden on the phone, but he doesn't talk to Anna much. Arden has two numbers, or Jared has two numbers for Arden. Um, Neve tells Jared that the anal profile isn't real and that the Arden one most likely isn't either. It looks like that there are fake profiles for everyone pretty much in Andrea's life, because now they have her best friend. They then look up the phone numbers, and the first one comes up in Columbus, Georgia. Then the other one comes up in the same city in Georgia, Columbus. Then they wait to see who else contacts them over the course of the next day. Um, and so the next day they come back, they regroup and find out that they get this message from they find out that they get this message from this guy named Alex. He says he used to be close to the entire family, and says he was close to contacting even Max himself. Um, so they call Alex and explains he was talking to Andrea a little over a year prior to the taping of the episode, and was very close to her and her family and everything. They talked about him meeting her and the family, but it never came of fruition. He explains he lives in LA, so they decided to meet up with him. So they meet up with him at this local coffee shop, and he first met her when he was producing a festival, because he's a producer. I mean, he makes music too, but he's mainly like, or he makes music for himself too, but he's mainly producer, I guess, for other people. Um, and so they started talking to each other basically, and a lot, and they started to head in the direction of possibly getting together um, as a couple. And but then he says that he would get he explains that he would get videos of her, but none of her actually saying his name in them, like explicitly saying his name, like, oh hey Alex, this is Andrea. It's basically videos from her YouTube channel, or any of her other social media sites. um, I'm sorry, by the way, for that noise you can hear. Even though my window's closed, I think you can hear the leaf blower or a weed whacker or whatever going on outside. Where I live, once a month, I live in a place where it's owned by like the company or something like that, and so they have people come out once a month to cut the leaves for the entire community, um, instead of leaving it to the people who are actually renting, um, or owning the house or whatever. Anyway, so if you hear the weed whacker outside, I'm sorry about that. I can't control when they come, you know, um, when they come cut the grass or anything. And I forgot that they hadn't come around in a month, to cut the grass, so I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I still have my window closed. Thank goodness I didn't open it, because it would be a lot louder, because it's like literally, the guy's like literally right there. Anyway, back to the episode. um, he then this something that Alex brings up is something that's different. He he would get he would get asked to FaceTime with Andrea. 'Cause she would actually ask to FaceTime with him, but because as you know, most of the time when one person wants to, FaceTime or Skype, it's usually the person who's being catfished that wants to FaceTime. Um, it's the person who's being catfished that wants to FaceTime, not the catfisher who asks the catfish who asks to FaceTime or Skype or anything. It's usually the catfishee. but instead it's Andrea who's asking to FaceTime. But the issue is that every time they try to FaceTime or Skype, um, an issue would come up, and it's the same exact issue. The connection, there's never an internet connection to connect. There's no internet connection that they can connect to. So basically, they can never FaceTime. So, um, but so they were kind of reduced to only talking on the phone. So they would constantly talk on the phone, and at first he noticed that her voice sounded just a little bit differently than how it sounded in the videos. So when he asked her about it, she would explain that she had a cold, and he would and so he kind of dismissed it and let it go. And eventually he just figured that he just got used to the voice and everything. And then he brought up the fact that possibly she was not the real Andrea, and she would always say, "What do you mean?" or "What are you talking about?" Anyway, so and then he drops the kind of, I guess, mini bombshell that it was Andrea's sister who initially messaged him and not um, Andrea herself. Um, then it was the father, the mother. Then it was the father, then the mother, then the best friend. Then it was the ex-boyfriend. Then it was the boyfriend of the best friend who would message him, and it was like literally like one right after the other. So not only is this catfish using catfish had not only does this catfish have a profile of Andrea's mom, dad, sister, brother, and best friend, but they have profiles for Andrea's ex-boyfriend and Andrea's best friend's boyfriend. So it's fucking ridiculous. And I'm sitting here thinking like, but wait a minute, how the fuck does she have all this time to do this? Because this having that many profiles is basically a fucking full-time job that you don't get paid for. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, how the fuck does she have all this time to not only have Andrea's an Andrea fake profile, but a fake profile for mom, dad, sister, and brother. I mean, she now also has her best friend's boyfriend, and her ex-boyfriend. Like, how the fuck do you have all this time to do this shit? Like I don't understand. Like, how the fuck do you have all the time to do this shit? Like, I don't understand. Like, and I'm pretty sure anybody who's watching this thought the same thing. So anyway, um, and then he found out that that Andrea would always talk about him, and but there was always drama involved. Stuff like her sister would hit on him and say, "Oh, I didn't know you were actually dating Andrea. I'm sorry for hitting on you and shit," and other stuff like Andrea kissing another guy and some shit, and just drama, endless drama with this whole family. Neve then explains Andrea reached out to them because she was concerned about someone making fake profiles of her family. Neve then reveals that the profiles he was talking to were the same ones that were fake. Neve tells Alex that they are actually going to go see the real Andrea and invite him along if he wants to come with them. And, like, as I expected, he agreed to go with them. So Neve, Max, and Alex go to meet Andrea at her house. Maxon tells her that that Alex had dated the Andrea, but basically he was dating the fake profile. And Alex explains his situation, to Andrea that he explained to Neve and Max. Then they call and show. Then they call the number. I guess the number that Alex has for Andrea, and it shows it's a texting app. I think when they get to the voicemail, and then they call one of the two numbers that Jared gave, and that comes back to a texting app as well. And then so they try the last number. and the fake Andrea answers. Neve explains he knows she's not the real Andrea because she's sitting next to the real one as they speak. So she asked if she's involved, and she said she was behind it all. Eventually, before she kind of like stumbles over her words and doesn't say anything for like a minute or two. Then Neve asks for her name. She doesn't give it at first over the phone, but then she says her name is Zoe, and she agrees to meet finally after like several minutes of awkward pauses and stammerings and everything. And she explains that she's in Atlanta. So Neve says they will all fly to Atlanta the following day before hanging up. And the next day, Neve, Max, Alex, and Andrea fly down to Atlanta. And the day after they get to it, they land in Atlanta. Neve and Max go to Alex's hotel room, and they go back. They talk, and Alex has made this song about this whole situation, and he kind of sings it for them a little bit. And then they go pick up Andrea from her room, and then go meet Zoe. Once they get over to Zoe's house, they knock on the door, and she comes out and immediately says she's sorry before anybody else could say anything, and that it wasn't personal. Before making this video, I watched other people kind of, give their opinion on this whole episode, and one of the people that I watched talk about this brought up the very valid point that even if you make one profile catfishing or using a particular person's photo and or real name, that is at least a smidgen personal, because you're still coming after me basically and using my pictures and or my name. So that is at least a tiny bit personal. It's a whole nother thing when you're using not only my pictures and name, but my family, my immediate family's name and pictures and name, and my best friend's picture and name, my best friend's boyfriend's pictures and name, and my own ex-boyfriend's picture and name. That's a whole nother thing, and that's definitely personal. And that's what this person was saying. And so I personally agree with that, because there's no way that that's not personal at all, because you went out of your way to not only make a fake profile of me, my pictures, and my name, but you did that for my mom, dad, sister, brother, ex-boyfriend, best friend, and my best friend's boyfriend. That's literally seven people, 8 if you count Andrea. So that's definitely something personal. And I feel like even though she didn't say it personal, she didn't say it exactly why she felt the need to. Well, she kind of did, but she kind of did say this a little bit later, but I feel like she was kind of lying about it. Because there's no way there was no personal aspect to this, because there's no way you're gonna catfish not only me but my entire friends and family, basically. There's no reason why you would do that if it was not personal. So I feel like she was kind of lying about this. I at the time when I was watching this episode, I didn't think that, but after watching several people's other opinions about this, I came to the conclusion that it must have been personal, because there's no reason why you would catfish not only me but my entire family if it wasn't personal. Like, if it really wasn't seriously personal, there's no reason why you would do that. No reason why at all. If it was just me and my picture and my name, okay, I can possibly see that it wasn't entirely personal, but maybe it's smidgen personal. But because it involved not only me but my friends and family, it had to be personal. It had to be. Otherwise, they would not have done it. So, anyway, So she pretty much right off the bat said that before anybody else could say that she was sorry, it wasn't personal, which was again I would want to say it's BS in my opinion, and that she was just being selfish. Her intention was to find someone she didn't find someone she didn't have. So Zoe Googled, her name is Zoe by the way, if I didn't know say that before, I think I said it. But yeah, Zoe Googled pretty Tumblr girl, and Andrea had literally come up. I don't know why I don't. I mean, for some reason, when I initially watched this, I was like, you know what? I don't believe that. I don't believe that when she made the profile, Andrea's profile and her family's profiles, I mean, that's why that's how she did it. I don't believe that for some reason. I just didn't believe that. I was like, because I don't think. I mean, I don't know. It just seemed to me like Andre, the real Andre, didn't strike me as someone who was on Tumblr. I guess I shouldn't assume that, but I mean, Andre doesn't seem like she's the type of person to be on Tumblr. I don't know. She doesn't seem like she doesn't strike me as a person who'd be on Tumblr. I mean, which is probably not, I guess, a fair assumption on my part, but that's nevertheless what I assumed at the time, and so that's why I was like, but wait a minute, why? I mean, so it seemed to me that that aspect was fake on Zoe's part. Anyway, then when people started saying that she was fake and how she didn't have any family tagged, and how none of her family members would, um, how none of her family members would comment on any of her stuff, that's when she started making the fake Facebook pages for her family members and friends. Um, Andrea mentioned that Zoe said she didn't do this to be vindictive, but some of the things that Zoe said via the fake page was seriously vindictive, like the homophobic and racist things. And Zoe says, "Yeah, she knows," and that's all she says. Sorry about that. I just got a notification about an email. Um, sorry about that. And so Max asks if Alex is the only one she had, had this emotional relationship with, since they could only find him out. And she says somehow I don't believe that. And she said yes. Um, Somehow I don't really believe that because I mean, well, first I want to say that she admitted that she was talking to um, three other guys while talking to Alex. But I doubt that she was only talking to three other guys, because if she's going through all this trouble of making not only Andrea's not a fake Andrea profile, but fake profiles of her family and friends, then she had to have talked to other guys, more than just three other guys, because you're doing this for 5 plus years. So there's no way that you would do this and not have talked to more than three guys. So somehow I don't believe that. Somehow I don't believe that Alex is the only one she had this emotional attachment to, and she was only talking to three other guys, four if you count Alex. So that's just me though. Neve immediately doesn't believe it and questions her about it, and Alex says she doesn't seem sincere whatsoever, even though she says she's sorry. She doesn't seem sincere whatsoever, and and because she seemed more like, and well, Max then says that what scares him is how resolved she seems about the whole thing. Andrea said that she seems rehearsed. This whole thing seems rehearsed, which is true, because it's like she literally has an answer for fucking everything. So she literally has an answer for everything. And usually, what happens is with these catfish stories is that Neve, Max, and or the catfishee has to literally drag an explanation out of the catfisher. They literally have to drag it out of them before they get any sort of, answer. Like I mean, it's just that's just the way it goes. This is like literally the only one where I can think of that where a catfisher has said sorry and pretty much has the answer straight away. Um, because I don't remember any other episode where this happened, and because every other episode the either every other episode the catfisher has to be asked directly why they did what they did, and usually what happens is they have to kind of think about it for a second, and then explain that they have to think about it for a second before they say anything. And so it's just weird that she, like, second after they ask the question, she has this answer. So obviously it seems kind of rehearsed to me, so, and to everybody else. So Neve then suggests that they take a minute to decompress over by the car and and everything, because it seems like they're still trying to get around a barrier with her. But by the car, Alex says he has heard her be emotional on the phone before, and now that he's in front of her, she seems seriously cold, which I agree with. Like, she seems rather cold about everything. And Max says that she seems to have an answer for everything, and Andrea inputs that she has answers without even thinking, because like she said, it seems like it was rehearsed. Neve then goes in by himself to check on Andrea and everything, and he finds her in the bathroom crying. You know what? When I was initially watching this, I didn't come to this conclusion, but just like a minute ago, I realized something. I think the reason why Neve found her crying was because of the fact she wanted to make it look like she was sincere, but really wasn't. I don't really believe that she is sorry. I don't believe she's sorry. And I just don't believe she's sorry or anything. And there's a little bit more I want to expound on with that, but I'll get to that when I talk about the 2 months later part, which is in like a minute or two. Then Neve brings everyone back in a few minutes later, and Zoe explains that the realizations of what she's done has hit her, and she explains her ex-boyfriend was abusive, and that he was an alcoholic. She found out she was pregnant, but then miscarried. After all this, she made the Andrea profile because Andrea was bubbly, and well, it seemed like because Andrea seemed bubbly and everything, it kind of, that, I guess, bubble personality came out through her, and everything. Then later they kind of force her to delete the profiles, and they watch her delete the profiles and everything, and so that's the end of it. And then 2 months later, we find out Andrea has gone blonde, which is not that bad. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever go blonde myself, which is kind of not the point, but I don't know. I think it worked for her. And apparently all the family profiles are still gone. And so Andrea's doing well and everything, and I think she mentioned that there's still fake profiles of her, but not of her family, and her friends. So anyway, they get off Skype with Andrea. Then they talk to Zoe, and she says she hasn't been catfishing people at all, which I don't really think is true. And I'll explain a little bit in a second about that. But she says she hasn't been in contact with Andrea, the real Andrea or Alex, since the end of the filming the episode. So anyway, Um, the reason why I don't believe that um, the reason why I don't believe that Zoe has finished catfishing is because of the fact that um, even though she deleted the Andrea and Andrea profiles, the Andrea profile and her family members profiles, and her friends profiles, it's because of the fact that I mean, while she did that all that, she could still have made new profiles. She could have still made new profiles to catfish people. She could have still made new profiles and everything. She still could have done that because the Andrea profile and the profile she made about her family, friends, and friend's boyfriend and ex-boyfriend, those profiles are burned now because this has gone on. The profiles have been shown nationally on national tele and internationally now, or will eventually be shown internationally. So even if she were to make a new Andrea profile with her family, with Andrea's family and friends and ex-boyfriend, people would immediately know that this Andrea profile would most likely be fake. So there's no way she could, use Andrea and her family and friends anymore. So she would have to find I mean, I personally think that she found a new person to catfish and use their family and friends to catfish. I personally think that's what happened because I don't believe that she just up and stopped. Especially considering that she had created profiles for Andrea's family and friends. So, and she did it for 6+ years, or 5+years. She did it for 5+years. There's no way she's not gonna. I mean, I just don't believe. I just don't buy that she just didn't do it anymore. I just don't buy that she didn't. She just stopped cold turkey. I just don't buy it because as we saw in the 2-part season premiere, or not premiere, 2-part return of Catfish, you saw the Lucas and Many situation where Zach had pretty much catfished over 400 women with just one profile. So, and I thought that he just didn't stop. I thought that he didn't stop cold turkey just because he deleted the profile that he was using doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't go out and make a new profile. After which, he could have literally made a new profile after everything had ended. And you saw how with Zach he had cut his hair, and he pretty much looked completely different than when the show was filmed. So yeah, I personally think that he made a new profile and started right back up to where he left off in that particular episode. And I think that's the same thing here, where she had, created a new profile with different picture and name, and used that person's family and friends to catfish people. Because I just don't buy. I just think that's what happened. I really think that's what happened. Now, with all that said, I think that like her whole I was in an abusive relationship, and I got pregnant and I miscarried. I mean, I think I'm not trying. I hope that like what I say doesn't come off as misconstrued. I hope, but I mean, If it is, I'm sorry. Zoe saying that, I think, was just a cover story to make it look like she was sincere, because she started, like, she was literally crying 2 seconds later, or 2 minutes later, after everyone took a break. And I found it convenient that she started crying. I started, like, I found it convenient that she was crying and everything. And at 2 minutes later. And usually when catfish, when the catfisher is confronted, what usually happens is they don't cry after they're confronted, and they come, like, I mean, I guess it's because of the fact that, like, usually what happens is they confront the person for the first time, and then after like 5 or 10 minutes, they they take a break, they leave to compress for the day, and then come back the next day to talk. And so maybe the catfisher cried after those people left, everyone left. But I just found it awfully convenient that she started crying right after everyone had, took a break by the car. I just found it convenient. And that she conveniently came out with a story about her being abused and miscarrying a pregnancy. I don't know. It's just, I mean, because we saw, like, this whole getting pregnant and miscarrying thing earlier this year with the Tyreme. I think it was the Tyreme and Tamara episode. I'm pretty sure it was that one, where she said that she cheated and she got pregnant. Uh, I think maybe by an ex-boyfriend or something like that, or I don't know. But yeah, she cheated, she got pregnant, and then she miscarried. That was to, get him to leave her alone, or call things off with her or whatever. So you saw with that. So it's not that far-fetched for someone to claim they were pregnant and had miscarried. I mean, I don't know. That's just me though. With all this said, hit like if you like this video, and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future about any show that I do. I recap and review, Catfish included. And if you want to talk about this episode with me, or even past episodes with me, either hit drop a comment below about past episodes and this episode, or go to any one of my previous episodes on Catfish and drop a comment there. With that said, I will see you guys in the next video about Catfish next week. Oh, actually, you know what? That does remind me. I forgot to mention about talk about the next week's episode. I saw the preview, and it seemed like it was a standard episode. Nothing's really stood out to me about that might be different next week. So it looks like they're kind of going back to the regular format of the episode, where they try to find someone who try to find the catfisher who this person has fallen in love with. So there's that. So this seems like a regular old episode next week. So I'll be back next week to talk about next week's episode. That said, I will see you guys next week at Catfish. Bye.